This
nice.
one is in Spain, near to Alicante. It's a small development. This is all the estate agent's blurb about it. So it's only 35 units. It's next to the Allenda Golf Course, close to Elche, which is a place that I've been house hunting before. It's an absolutely beautiful town. It's a World Heritage Site. There are plenty of flights going into this area. You've got a private garden, shared pools, views of the Sierra Les Aguilas Mountains.
Well done. I'm glad you did that one.
I think that means the land of the needles. It's got air conditioning, it's got a furnished kitchen, it's got a hydro massage bath, most importantly. So it's kind of a very different type of property to the previous one that we're looking at. Owners get reduced green fees as well, and it also has obviously on-site maintenance. Now, looking at the figures for this one, it's on last summer £152,000. You're going to have to put down a 30% deposit, which is about £45,000, plus all your fees of nearly £20,000. Means your total one-off cost, deposit and fees, is going to be about 65 grand. Ongoing cost will be about £6,500 a year. Now, with your rental, best case scenario, you'll be making about £14,000. Worst case scenario, £7,000, which once you take your costs into account, means that potentially you could be making very little money in rental from this one, even though you would think being close to a golf course and all of those other infrastructures would mean that it would be a really good rental prospect. We're looking worst case scenario at 0.5% yield. So that's not exactly going, it might just about pay for itself, worst case scenario, but you're not going to be making your millions out of this one.
I think with this property, when people are looking to buy property as regarding getting a rental income, I think things like golf courses nearby are fantastic. What I like about this property, certainly from a rental perspective, but also from a second home perspective, is the amount of flights going in there. One of the key things we talk about is trying to find a location where not just one flight carrier uses the airport, but 2 or 3 flight carriers. For example, you've seen EasyJet pull out of some French airports as well. That will have a huge impact on the rentability of your property, but also have a huge impact on how accessible your property is itself. But also, when you start to look at any recently built development, it's time for you to do your homework. And that means getting out there yourself and knocking on doors. Now this is, I think it's 35 units built here. Now 35 units, this won't be a first time build for any developer. This is probably their second or third, if not even their 10th. Now this is where you get the opportunity to find out how good that building is. You're not, at the moment, look, it's a good looking building. It's got lots of, look, it's got a pool there. You've got to start thinking about the ownership cost of this place. First of all, as soon as I see anything modern with a load of facilities, I instantly think of the service charge, what that service charge is going to be. But most importantly, you're not buying a snapshot of a property here now, you're buying a relationship with bricks and mortar. Now that might sound strange, but basically you're going to be owning this as an asset in the long term. The average tenure a few years ago, people owning a property, even in the UK, was 7 years, and we've started to use property like commodities. So what you've got to think about is, what are the bills going to be for this kind of property in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time? There's already, you can see, you've got tiled roofs here, but there'll be some flat roofs, there'll be some communal areas, there'll be some public drives and lawn areas. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and that work will have to be covered by a sinking fund. Now at the moment, what you'll have is the service charge. I think the service charge is written down here. I can't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. Say the service charge is anything up to £100 a month. That £100 a month will cover your buildings insurance. It'll also cover the maintenance, but it has to have a sinking fund, because in 15 years' time, there's going to be new roofs put on these places. Now, if there isn't a sinking fund in place, guess who starts to pay the bills? You and your neighbours. So make sure there's a strong sinking fund in place. And if possible, there's a management company there, they should be producing profit and loss accounts, and you can see what's going in and what's going out. Now, another thing to look at is who's built it. What's their build product like? If you're buying anything new, off plan, or it's just finished, you need to think, what's that going to look like, how it's going to be in a year's time. Now, you can go to previous developments. Every building I've ever sold, brand new, it'll always have something go wrong with it. It's not the developer's fault. Things will happen. You'll get leaks. But the most important thing for any developer is how quickly they sort out those snags, if you like. There's usually get a snagging list from new properties. Now, you can go to a previous development and say, knock on someone's door. This might sound strange to you, but it's up to you to do some homework. There's a real advantage that you can get over the rest of the market. You can knock on the door and say, look, I'm looking at a building in a development that this developer built 5 years ago. How was it when you moved in? Were the snagging lists sorted out straight away? Have a look at the development itself. This looks lovely, doesn't it? Next door could be phase 2, built in 2 years' time. Phase 3 could be 4 years' time. What you've got to bear in mind is there could be trucks going past your back door for the next 3 years. So to look at the strategic plan, go down the local council office, look at the planning consents that are in for the future. Do your homework on the developer, do your homework on the strategy of the planning consents for the area, and therefore you will have a good insight on what's going to happen in and around there for the next 10 years. And hopefully you won't get any untidy or unfortunate circumstances arriving further down the line. The whole process is about you getting the confidence to make the right decision when you purchase a property.